If you walk into a room full of black anime fans, you might hear laughter at a scene that probably wasn't meant to be all that funny. You might see someone nodding like they felt a character's pain before the show even explained it. And you might ask yourself, hold up, are we all watching the same thing? Because technically, yeah, but culturally, it's not even close. Anime doesn't come from a universal meaning. It comes with subtitles and then something deeper. It comes with interpretation. In black audiences, we don't just watch anime, we translate it. Not like from Japanese to English, but from experience to experience. When we see a character like Ichigo carrying pressure nobody fully understands, it's not just main character energy, that's code switching. That's responsibility at a young age. That's being strong because you don't have the luxury of falling apart. Anime gives us the story, but we supply the context. A lot of anime is built on struggle, isolation, rejection, fighting systems bigger than you. But here's the thing, those themes don't land the same for everybody. Because for some people, struggle is narrative. For others, it's memory. When Naruto is ignored, that doesn't feel like fiction. When Eren Yeager rages against a system trapping his people, that doesn't feel abstract. When the character has to prove their humanity, that hits different. Because for black audiences, we're not just watching the metaphor, we've lived different versions of it. Anime loves power systems. We all love a good power system. Spiritual pressure, chakra, nen, quirks, cursed energy, spirit energy, you name it. But beneath all the glowing auras and transformation sequences, these systems ask a deeper question. What does it mean to become who you really are? And for black viewers, that question isn't necessarily theoretical, because identity has always been something we've had to navigate carefully. You shrink in one room, expand in another. Mask here, unmask there. So when the character unlocks their true form, it doesn't just feel cool or looks cool. It feels familiar, like finally breathing at full capacity. Now, this is where things get interesting, because black audiences, we find humor in places that the script doesn't even plan for. Not because we're misinterpreting the story, but because we're reframing it. Anime can be dramatic, intense, borderline theatrical, and black culture has a long tradition of responding to intensity with humor. It's how we process, it's how we grieve, it's how we evolve, and that's how we survive. So when a character gives a long emotional monologue, somebody in the room is probably going to say, bruh, just say you mad. And suddenly, the scene transforms, not into something lesser, but into something shared. Here's the paradox though. Anime rarely centers black characters, if at all. And yet, black audiences have deeply connected to it for decades. Why is that? Because representation isn't always about appearance. Sometimes it's about emotion, about struggle, about being in the sense of otherness. We saw ourselves in characters who weren't written for us and made space anyway. Through cosplay, through community, through reinterpretation. We didn't wait to be invited. We just pulled up anyway. Anime isn't just something black audiences watch. It's something we build around. Group chats debating power levels like it's sports analysis. Barbershop conversations about who really had the better art. YouTube breakdowns and video essays that turn characters into case studies. We don't just consume anime, we remix it, we critique it, we add to it. Because that's what black culture does. It takes what exists and makes it richer. So, why do black people see anime differently? Because we don't just see what's on the screen. We see what's beneath it. We see struggle and recognize it. We see transformation and feel it. We see characters searching for identity and understand the cost of that search. Anime gives us the canvas, but we bring the color. And maybe that's the real power system. Not chakra, not spirit energy, but perspective.